the RANT, Monday, the 22nd of February, and the usual cast has assembled. Good morning, Paul.
Morning, Mark. Glenn.
Thanks for coming on, Paul. G'day, Gord.
No problem.
Mark.
Morning, guys.
Blah, blah, blah. Interesting week in racing. Just gets more interesting every week.
Sure does.
It was a great weekend.
Plenty to talk about, but part one is all things Rose Hill and maybe a touch on Caulfield. Rose Hill was posted as a heavy 8. What was the track condition, Paul?
Look, it started probably around the 4.7 and ended up 4.95. So, yeah, dead track got a little bit worse, as you would expect throughout the day.
And your take on the bias?
I thought that it was an advantage to be on pace and probably either on the inside or running line on the day. That seemed to be the most favourable position. Some of those races were obviously affected by the slow paces early, but I still think that there was enough evidence there to suggest that there was a bit of an advantage to be on pace.
Yeah, I reckon you didn't want to be wider than 1.5. What'd you say, Gord?
Fence and run was an advantage.
And a serious advantage, like
yeah, a little bit, yeah. Like it didn't have to be, so not like a Canterbury Greyhound scenario, but
yeah. It was interesting. I felt like in the races where horses did spring from that one-off position, I suppose Emanate a really good example. There was definite roadblocks there as well that
on the inside,
subpoenaed race as well. Those two,
particularly subpoenaed race, Mark. Exactly. I think subpoenaed not being in the absolute optimal position, but are problems on the inside. So.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get off with a fascinating. We'll kick off with a fascinating race 1. And Paul, it appears to have been slowly run. What do the figures say?
Look, they've gone out 3.2 lengths to the 800 slow and come home 3.6 fast, so just slightly above par overall. Even slower to the 600, so 4.8 below. So, and the Mats returned well. It ran the best 6, 4 and 2 of the day off a slow pace and pretty much returned a figure equivalent to what it did first up last prep.
Okay. The big talking point was, of course, the blow on the favourite, which after deductions came into $1.40 with deductions. But BSP, I think, was $2.34. It was heavily laid late.
You need to improve this picture. Oh, you're sweet now. Heavily laid late and wow, too good the fare.
Yeah, well, it's been restrained from the widest there in the yellow cap. Gord, I just wanted to, when I was watching the replay of this race and I read the stewards report, I'm going, okay, so you've shown it its head in the trial, and then that's the last time it's come out of the barriers, and today you come out of the barriers and you're going, oh, well, I actually want to restrain you. Do you think that that's a bit of nonsense?
Well, yeah, well, it's what Waller does, doesn't it? A lot of the time from wide barriers.
Yeah, but you would think that if you're preparing for a race, you would do that in the trial as well.
Yeah, Mark, I think it's a mistake, but I mean, you understand why it happened. You know what I mean with these connections.
Yeah, I just thought it was, if you're going to, you actually pressed on from a wide gate in the barrier trial, showed brilliant speed, flew the lids, and yet clearly they were quite cautious.
Well, look how bad it ended up working out, Mark. He gets tagged from the wide barrier, it over races, and then he's got to do a mid-race move. It's just
so Vulpine's been well specced in the race, and it's found the lead comfortably. Sapphire Crown, the Victorian, is worked up outside it. Andermatt's found the box seat, the eventual winner. In between them, there is Fanciful Dream, and now the Waller horse Vowmaster is about to sool around them. Tommy Gold's going to end up on its back 3 wide. In the Denise Martin colours is the New Zealander Only Words, and Back Blast is on the lead, which is going to switch to a one-off position.
Look, for me, Mark, the 8 to 4 in this race was the third slowest leader sectional split on the meeting. The trainer and jockey have both cited the heavy track as being the main excuse for the failure of the favourite, which it wasn't. So I'm saying that even though the horse had to make that mid-race move and it was over racing, that it wasn't doing any work, and I can't see a reason to forgive it.
Okay, that's an interesting analysis. Glenn, from the parade, you certainly sent it out on top. We're talking about the
Yeah,
favourite.
well, it was a day where a lot of horses got warm, so it was, like do your best with all runners. But I just thought it was stylish and athletic enough to get the job done there. It was completely wrong.
Yeah, but you would also say that no horse attempted or no horse was successful trying anything like those tactics. I know Paul has cited the fact that it didn't actually have to do that much work when it did choose to go forward.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It's sort of jury out for me. Gord, you did say that it's one of the best trials you've ever seen. What do you want to do with it next start, the favourite?
The shame of it is, Mark, it's going to have an SP anchor, even though it blew late. I want to forgive that run because I just think you didn't show up. Your manners were terrible, and you couldn't be 3 wide on the day and win. So
yeah,
I was going to forgive it.
It is one of those swings and roundabouts sort of situation. Initially, when I considered, I suppose I watched the result and I thought the winner was a bit disappointing the way it sort of just managed to edge past Bulpine. But I suppose, Paul, the figures suggest that that wasn't such a bad thing. That
No, it was a sprint. I mean, and it couldn't have done much more given the slow pace. As I said, it sort of pretty much returned to rating that it returned last prep. Just on Bowmaster 2, its first start over the 1100, it ranked probably 2 to 3 lengths below what it did over the 1,000 metres second up at Moonee Valley. So, perhaps it was just an issue with the, preparation of the race, the circumstances it found itself in versus what they'd done in the trial, and also the fact that it was 1,100 metres first up from that 900 metre trial. So perhaps they were contributing factors, and maybe some of the reasons why there was a bit of opposition on the fair late.
Yeah.
Yes, GP.
Did our selection of this favourite get clouded by the fact that while by 7 beating our horse?
Yes.
Yeah,
we're owners, so our horse must be a champion. This beat us by 7, so it must be a real champion. So we might have fucked it up a bit. Mark, were you able to put on the thing there the James Cummings comments after the race?
Yeah, thanks for reminding me, Glenn, because that's very critical. I'll get on to that. I think we might cover that in part 2 because I think.
Oh, you don't want to look at it now? You don't want to look at it now after this race?
No,
that's the most interesting thing about the whole race.
Yeah, it's fascinating. So I will play that. I'll get that ready for part 2 because it's actually on my phone and not on my computer. Gord, what do you want to do with the winner?
Yeah, I think it's interesting, Paul, saying that I would have liked to have seen it been more dominant against Vulpine, but PD and you have made the point that they came home quite quickly, didn't they? So maybe the small margin is forgivable there, and you can entertain it. So.
It's a bread and butter blue type, isn't it?
I think so. Yeah.
It was the fastest last 400 litre split on the day, so they couldn't have done much more.
Let's wait till he races Intolerant. We'll see how good it goes.
No chance. Intolerant will blow it away.
Up you go, Gordo.
Yeah. I think Andermatt will be coming off this Sunday Metropolitan race to run at Goulburn, which is where Intolerant will be going.
All right. Well, we've seen a fair bit of Goulburn lately. Let's get onto the highway, which this horse was strongly touted on the preview show by most parties. And springboarding off a win leading all the way last start down the line, and Rachel King just sent it forward took control, and the only sort of dangers were horses that had suck runs behind it. So Rachel's crossed over there with Blue Missile, and Can Do, the Dubois horse, is settling in second. The horse that's caught wide there is Praline, and underneath it is Scout, which is about to carry on like an extreme pork chop, a very burnt pork chop. Phillipsburg is in the red colours, just about to get a reasonable run on the speed, and back on the inside is the PR of PR's Texas Storm. Paul, a slowly run race again?
Look, the figures are just poor for the race. They've gone 3.6 lengths slow to the 800, come home minus 2.3, so overall nearly 6 lengths slow. Look, the pace was just average, even though the speed was slow for this class. I would suggest that the winner's rated down a fair bit on what it did previously.
Could that be 1400?
It could be 1400, and also a factor of the fact that they were going, just average tempo. I thought that the run of the race for mine was a horse called Commando Hunt that was there back 3 wide last, made its run in the inferior ground and ran the 7th best 4-2 split on the meeting.
That is fascinating, isn't it? I saw that as soon as I looked at the table of times, and I went, wow, it just stands out that from the 4 to the 2, it's run the 7th best, and the next best in the race is the horse that's PR'd and sucked up on the rails. That's Texas Storm running 28th.
Correct. Yep.
So yeah, that's a really interesting, and I think part of the reason you want to have a look at this breakdown of time. So there it is, peeling out now widest. And Gord, I think it did. You have got a good feel for this horse, and you definitely showed that. Whilst all he could do was run 4th, he showed that he does have some talent.
Horse is flying. Stable have a really big opinion of it. I would love to see it in another highway drawn closer to inside, 5, 6, somewhere around there, so I can posse up a little bit more. And I think it'll get a highway win. By the way, still, I'm quite happy that it was posted 3 wide and had to do the work it did, because I was very happy about the missile flying along in front there.
GP, have you got anything to add here, or can we?
No, I just wanted Spruik Ratings to win there, because if that's the 7th best time of the day from 400 to 200, there, to me, watching that, the eye does not pick that up.
Well, if you have a look at the lateral, there was something about it that,
Yeah,
it did make a dash.
Now, the eye
eye
lies because of the 2 to the finishing post. You can see it from the 4 to the 2.
Yeah, but I'm not saying it. Okay, it's made a
It's
run.
made up 2 lengths between the 4 and the 2.
Okay, so I'm just saying that, to me, it doesn't. I look at that from the 4 to the 2. I can't see that.
I want to ask you.
I'm sure the times are right, but I'm not spagging it.
I want to ask you about this Phillipsburg plan.
Phillipsburg.
Phillipsburg.
Yeah, you were excited about it from the parade.
Yeah, I was. It ran a good race, I thought.
Yeah, did a decent job.
Yeah. What do you want me to ask you about it? It's a
because I'm interested.
Fit looking country horse.
It's had 3 1,400-metre starts in a row, so I was thinking maybe up in distance. Is it the type that would appreciate a bit more ground?
They're highway type scored. They're just what they are, mate. I could look at any one of these horses at Queanbeyan tomorrow and not back it. You know what I mean? Like,
it's like, I can just imagine you going down Parramatta Road and in the days of the car yards, were just all those lowbrow car yards. And
exactly like that. There's the Daimlers, there's the Mercs. Look at these pieces of shit. Oh, these come. It's just like that.
But they all go. They go.
All horses get you from A to B. I've said it all the time. They start at A and they get to B, and you just got to try and work it out. But Mounting Guard Mail will never stop a horse going from A to B.
All right, the third race, Paul, let's start with you, because the times look really, really decent in this race.
Yeah, look, they ran the fastest time ratings of the day, the winner, Nemali. They've gone out 2.1 above to the 800 and come home 4.1 above. So to the 800, the speed was good, but the pace was sort of below average. And then at the 600, they went 3.3 above and came home 2.9. So overall, you'd say that the tempo from the 600 was average, but prior to that, it was sort of a bit below average. Look, Nemali's a good fresh horse. Yao Dash was disappointing, I thought, given the circumstances on the day. Polly Gray's run from back in the field against the sectionals and perhaps also against the ground and where it was pretty decent.
Yeah, she's racked up some numbers there from the 8, from the 6, from the 4, and from the 2 that certainly put the red flashing light on top of her. I did want to make the case for Nemali that she'd run that really good race behind Emeralds, which just flattened her for the going up to the 2000 before spelling, and that, he'd given her the 2 trials, and she was very positive on her. And the other thing was, Gord, that she sort of kept Yao Dash out there for a critical stage as well, I thought.
Do that little bit of extra work. Still saying Yao Dash, I mean, this is the perfect setup with horses that don't have the fitness as he's got, mapped in the right position. I've got to say, I think it's a disappointing horse now, Yao Dash.
It is definitely disappointing, but you can see it was one paced. It's the Gaze horses, unfortunately, they go through that machine and they tend to lose their zip. And he met a Saturday class horse here that had some zing in her legs.
Well, it went past him like he was stationary. So.
The in-play trading is really interesting. Ziegfeld, let's talk about Parade there, Glenn. The blue colours.
No, I can't see his head, Mark. His head's disappeared.
He's gone, has he?
So the Parade of which horse, Mark?
The blue colours, Ziegfeld.
Did Glenn find it? Because
get Smart Horse.
I wasn't getting the price about this horse at all. It made no sense to me.
No, you didn't like the trial. You made no bones about that on Friday. So is that it? We've lost GP. Is he back?
But I was actually expecting it to blow, Mark, and it was reasonably firm, you know. So
yeah, look, the winner was the one that actually blew, and yeah,
there was a bit of money for the winner, wasn't it?
Look, she was
sixes and the fives late.
I think she BSP'd quite long. So
I got an SP here of $6. So
yeah, I think they bet $7 during the actual official betting. Just on the Yao Dash too. I mean, that was Yao Dash's sixth run in this preparation, and it was coming off the quick backup run at the grand final at the Gold Coast. So, you know, perhaps it's just had enough to spread.
Okay, and what should we expect from this highlight horse, Polly Gray? I mean, profile-wise, Paul, have you got a sort of a thought on that?
Yeah, look, I've got figures on Polly Gray here that it can improve probably 3 to 4 lengths off that. It'll definitely be suited up in distance. It probably needs to go to a mile plus now. Second up, certainly no well beater, but definitely ran quality figures sectionally, given the conditions. So probably a horse to follow.
And is this a situation? A 6-year-old mare, so it's going to turn 7, not too far away. But is it a situation where Waller perhaps, I see it was 91 days off its New Zealand.
When it was first up here?
When it was first up at Flemington last time.
Yeah, in Australia, over to 1400, yeah. Well, yeah. They went very, very fast in that race. So I don't know that the fast run race first up was probably suitable for it. Most of it's, you know, it certainly obviously would have brought the horse on in fitness wise, but yeah, it wasn't ready Saturday.
Okay. Anything else you want to say about that race, GP?
No. Just disappointed with the way the leader stopped.
Yeah, but I mean, I think that, you know, they have run pretty good figures on the day. It's not.
Yeah, they're on the best time figure on the meeting.
All right.
Still pretty disappointed.
I'm against Yao Dash. And you know, the thing is, Gay Waterhouse staying at the same distance, even with the fresh up, it's just not ideal.
It's not ideal.
No, but yeah, he's been a disappointment. The mares race, and we had some interesting betting on this race. Lots of roughies they wanted to try. Paul, what have they done here times-wise?
Look, they've gone to the 800, 1.2 lengths above, and 1 length above and come home 1.2 above. So pretty much average pace, and overall time was a bit above average, as you would expect for this grade.
Okay.
I thought Sapina's done a pretty decent job.
Yeah, well, she certainly returned well. So we've got the Baker favoured horse, Positive Piece, out there, and Asiago's jumped very well, and Rachel King set her up outside the lead.
No, Positive Piece isn't out there, Mark.
No.
Yeah, you said Positive Piece. You said Positive Piece out there. I thought you were talking about the one out wide here.
No, it's Exotic Ruby, which is the Baker satellite.
I know who it is. I thought you got them confused.
Anyway, Lalude is sort of going to settle one out, one back there. Back along the inside is Madame Rouge, and Subpoena's on its outside. And then you've got She's Ideal, which is obviously a talking point from the race. And
well, speculate. She's Ideal.
It was heavily backed late. And I'm thinking, I know it's going to settle on the rails. So is that what it's all about?
Yeah.
The leader appears to be disappointing here, Paul. Positive Piece. I know it's first up, and it's a leader first up, but
it was, in my opinion. Look, as I've highlighted already, Subpoena did a good job. Sectionally, it did a decent job in the race, and from the position it came. Exotic Ruby, you got to totally forgive it. It's pulled up lame, 2 out of 5, and obviously had to sit wide. And She's Ideal obviously closed off the race very well, strong past the post, and will be suited up in trip.
I'm interested to hear what you have to say about this, Gord, because they're all horses you can be interested in next start or the start after that. But
yeah, I'll probably be looking to back Madame Rouge out of this race. I know it mapped in the perfect spot, but didn't get a lot of space there late. I'm going to be cautious about She's Ideal. It's the kind of run that I think might get overplayed by the market. So I agree
it's
that
got a
it
real
was a
flashing
nice
light on,
return. But flashing light when you PR hugging the fence the whole way, I wouldn't be surprised if it went round unders next start. You know what I mean? Like I still think it's a really good return for a horse that's going to be more suited over better distance. I just think the market will overplay that.
But is there something in the race shape here? I'm expecting She's Ideal's got this flashing last two, but from the four to the two, it's very slow. Is it because they were sort of clumped together? It was the queuing, where you weren't getting opportunity to get wound up.
There was also a bit of a slowdown between the 8 and the 4 as well, which changed that shape of the race a little bit during that period of the race. Look, I think She's Ideal was clearly not ready. It started about 7s or 8s. So, I mean, there was support for it, as you say, but I mean, looking at its previous SP profiles, pressure. Look, I think this horse probably needs, close to 2,000 metres. So yeah. I don't necessarily think next start is the start, but in the race, it was probably the best run in the race outside the winner.
It's a weird one. You know what I want to see happen? I want to see it run really disappointingly next start, and then back it, because it'll, obviously I'll get value third start. We've talked about this, Mark, when stayers resume. Not necessarily the next start you want to back them. It's actually after that.
Yeah, you give them 3 starts, I reckon, because they're basically saying, look, I'm going well, I've returned well, and that's the big tick. But as you say, it doesn't necessarily convert at its next start.
Well, it resumed at 1,300, which was totally unsuitable.
Yeah.
GP, have you got any, in the mounting yard? You suggested that there wasn't much between.
There wasn't. Yeah, there wasn't much between them, Mark. And if I had to comment on this race, I think I'd jump over that fucking balcony. Like, honestly, okay. Have you ever seen fucking awful looking? I can't comment on this one.
And for you guys out there, if you know, it is quite high living in the penthouse overlooking the beach of Coogee there.
So, yeah, let's move on, hey?
If only Gordon knew how bad I was going.
The Silver Slipper, Paul, they seem to have got along here.
Yes, they have. They've gone out 3.1 lengths fast to the 800, which they increased their speed to the 600, which was 4.1, and they've come home 4.8 slow. Once again, poor last 800. Overall times poor, probably just the worst race on the day from a times perspective. Look, I potted this horse, or potted the race, I should say, Home Affairs last time, and it's done the job. But I had a look at the Golden Slipper market, and I think it's around about 15, 16 to 1. I couldn't possibly back it.
And it'd be 4th run, first prep as well. This race was dominated by the rails. I mean, Rocket Tiger is in the checky colours there, running about 5th, and the Protest Horse King of Sparta is in the white cap with the red and yellow there, back on the rails. And of course, Direct finds the rails, and Home Affairs wins the race. Does get off the rails to sort of sit outside a bit, but slipstreams for a while. Let's watch that. It does look like yucky form, Gord.
It's terrible form. This is one of those races where I just want to keep on watching it because I love it. I love it when you think a race sets up perfectly because of mounting yard information, Mark's analysis of the trials and the pricing in its previous start, and you have a massive bet of a horse that has absolutely no ability and it wins by 0.2 of a length and you never back it again. Just a beautiful feeling. I agree with PD. I don't think this horse must. It looks like Adonis and it's got the heart of a pea, but who cares? We got the win on Saturday.
It's like Adonis. It is fascinating to reflect on the difference between Direct and Paul Lely, who of course contested the 1,000-metre race at Moonee Valley, and Direct was first up off that race, and Paul Lely had subsequently been to 1,200 and made all at Randwick. comes back here and there's a space between them. Does that speak about the track, or has Paul Ely just fallen over here?
I think it's just fallen over myself. I would have expected it to do a lot better coming into this race against the quality of the opposition. Look, King of Sparta, there was argument there. He'd protest. It should probably finish a bit closer, but
I think that protest could have been upheld looking at that head on.
Severe. So, yeah, Kathy's about to push out here, push Paul Ely out of the way, which cannons into King of Sparta and then into Tiger of Malay, I think. Here we go. Bang, bang, bang.
Jesus.
Right, night, Kathy. All right, so it seems like a race to avoid in coming weeks. The other fascinating aspect of the race is that Zethus reeled in Home Affairs the other day and given an unsympathetic run on Saturday and a sympathetic run for the winner. They're suddenly 15 lengths apart.
Well, I think we mentioned that on Friday, didn't we?
Yeah.
It was very unlikely that it would finish in front of Home Affairs again. All
right, the staying race, the Parramatta Cup, and it appears to have been a bit of a picnic, Paul.
Absolutely. They've gone out 10.2 lengths low to the 800 and come home 5.7 above. So overall time was poor. Sacramento quickened between the 8 and the 4, and again, 6 to the 4. So that's pretty much what won at the race. Secunderabad was obviously held up, but I thought it had its chance when it got clear at the 150. It wasn't able to make any ground on the winner. And the only other thing I'd probably say about the race, Mr. Marathon Man is definitely a forgive for mine.
Yes, at his 25th run this preparation. He's 3 deep out there. In fact, nothing changed position in this race. So as I've stopped them there, Sacramento's in the lead and Secunderabad's box seating, and the Lord Mayor is going to sit sort of OSL. Mustajir is in the Australian Bloodstock colours running 5th, and underneath it is Dedu's Dart, 4th, sorry, and Dedu's Dart is underneath it. And then you've got Mr. Marathon Man, who ends up running 6th. So what can you say about this? Other than, I suppose, Gay's horse was coming back in distance, and it was able to quicken against moderate opposition, but that seems to be a reasonable springboard for up in distance next start.
Yeah, I mean, it's flying, and it's had the 4 runs already this prep, and perhaps they might get another one out of it.
Depending on
when you're absolutely PR and you're in a 1-y race, I'm going to try and bet against your next start, but maybe you'll get a similar situation again up in distance, Mark, but it won't be one that I'm looking to find, not after this PR.
Yeah.
It's a 1-y.
It's not very exciting opposition, you must say. I tried to find Dedu. I made the case for Dedu's Dart that was reflected in the betting somewhat, but wasn't. He pretty much did bugger all.
No, I think it was a great angle, Mark. I mean, Sacramento's the obvious one, and if there's anything out there that could actually beat it, it was Dedu's Dart. I loved your analysis of this race.
Mustajir, is that it couldn't have done much more than it did first up? Is that an indication that we're probably going to be striking a wet autumn? Is Mustajir a horse that can do something, Glenn?
Maybe. Oh, like, for fuck's sake, it's like looking at your grandmother's wallpaper, this race. Isn't it boring? Or am I just being a narky old man?
Of course it's boring, but realistically, the winner, the winner.
If they kept going around another lap, would anyone change position?
No, I wouldn't. But $2.30 does look particularly takeable. The winner.
Yeah, I think we reflected that a bit on the Friday show and went out on top mounting our mail, and everybody rode to the map and you go to your booking and collect.
Okay.
I've got a tip for you guys out there that are watching the Friday preview as well, and that is if Glenn and Mark say they've assessed something at 5 to 4, you should be willing to take $1.80.
Well, specifically me, because I'm fucking useless.
I still don't think you guys are aggressive enough in the short end of the market.
No, we're not because we're scared. We've been in the game a long time, Gord. You're pretty fresh compared to us, and we're scared of the fucking boogeyman. And I think that comes with age.
Well, I didn't bet in the race, so I got scared of the boogeyman here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Oh, you've got-
and you're thinking, Gord, that you know it's an opportunity missed.
Yeah.
not just that. Gord heard me tipping on Friday, sending out top man in your mouth, told him I was backing, and he said, "Fuck, I'm not backing this." I know how Gord thinks. You know, it's a winning way. I'm not bagging you. Fucking
All
idiot,
right,
eh?
the 3-year-olds. Now, the lead-up race, you know, we spoke at length about how bad the times were in the lead-up race, and I think the performance of Peltzer on Saturday bore that out. Earlier in the day, we'd had 2 runners out of that race that didn't have a price in race 1. And then we had Peltzer coming off a win, but North Pacific with an SP over the horse, and not much else in the race. But yet again, Paul, I don't think these horses have covered themselves in glory either in the 3-year-old
No,
race.
they haven't really. I mean, I thought the winner was impressive sectionally. We'll talk about that. But look, Peltzer was very disappointing. They went out 3-point lengths slow to the 800, slowed up again to the 600, and then increased speed between the 6 and the 4. So the favourite should have been able to win this race, considering, and it's just gone terribly. So, I think, what do we do with it? I'm not quite sure. Maybe it needs a bit softer. The winner, Aegon, has sprinted very well sectionally from the 800 home, ran some of the best closing sectionals on the day. Interestingly, this horse, which I sort of put a tweet out about, had 4 starts in New Zealand for 4 wins on what was said to be soft tracks. 3 of those 4 were definitely not soft. They were in the good range, as in the good 3 range. So just once again, you've just got to pretty much ignore that. And I think the horse showed its capabilities.
All right, well, Peltzer's landed on the lead, and Prime Star, the little battler, has worked up outside. North Pacific seemed to travel well in the run there, Gord. He just eased into 1 out, 1 back.
And I'd suggest for everybody out there to never back the horse because it always runs around under the odds. It's just one of those Hawks horses that,
yeah,
going to get the right jockey on it. And
all show, no go.
Adonis with the heart of a pea. My expression
All
for
right,
today.
the Ruffy Easy Campese is box seating there. Lions Roar is raced relatively handy for a stayer and whacked away. And of course, Egon is back on the rails there in the white cap with the green sleeves, and Huey is poised already. It was $3.50 pre-post, and it got out to pretty much $5, which is I suppose there was very good support for the two out of the lead up, Peltzer and North Pacific, and the winner's just blown them away, hasn't he, Glenn?
Yeah, and he was the only horse from the parade ring hit, and probably Prime Star were the only 2 that paraded properly. The rest got a touch messy, and that's why he went out on top, I suppose. But he's got a nice run there, Huey, isn't it?
Yeah, it was weird.
I just can't get over how biased this track was. I didn't realise on Saturday how bad this was.
We talked about it after race 2, Glenn.
Yeah, I know, but I don't want to see you go.
Yeah, so he's steamed through there, one off the inside there, straight past the favourite. Prime Star's whacking away, and as is North Pacific. Glenn, was there any of these resumers that interested you looking at them?
Probably Eleonora a little bit going forward. I think it's in for a nice prep. And
isn't it a Waller number already? As soon as they lose their numbers, aren't they? Came off a sequence of wins.
Might be right.
I'm telling you right now, that winner isn't a 1,400-metre horse.
No,
well, the trainer's talking that down, Gord.
I told you about the trainer fibbing about this horse on the Friday show, Mark. He was playing down, oh, no, it's not ideal, blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking this thing's a goddamn Monty. But, and he had that sneaky look. They're sneaky, those bakers. They're very sneaky.
He has trained 5 Derby winners, that's pretty amazing. That I don't realise he's a champion, a great trainer from New Zealand, but 5 Derby winners is 5 AJC Derby winners is pretty
amazing. Look at that past the post. This horse has so much more.
All right, so just keep backing it, Gord, or wait for the right target race.
He's only a pony, Gord. I've got to tell you that. You can see there he's a little horse.
Yeah, I know.
Bowman looks like a normal man there.
But I think he can stay up for a long time. He's just one of those sort of
look how small he is.
Tidy sort of little things, where
he's little, all right. Look at him.
But isn't it weird? It's always Bowman on the horse when you think they look tiny. Is he considerably?
Yeah, well, used to Ty England as well.
Yeah, he is considerably taller. Hugh's about nearly the same height as me.
What?
Just below me. Whereas yeah, a few of the other boys, you know, you got to look down to them.
They're like Chris Monk's kind of.
Yeah, kinda. They are getting bigger, the jockeys, though. Yeah, what does it all mean?
All right. Well, here's a blue explosion in the penultimate. Emanate with the right prep, just dazzled. Times were fairly good, Paul.
Yeah, no, pretty good actually. One of the best time figures on the day. They've gone out 0.9 of a length fast to the 800 and come home 3.5 fast. So it was a really impressive sectional display by the winner. For mine, it was the win of the day. I know it looks very obvious, but
it didn't use the rails. I mean, you could argue there was a bit of a roadblock there on the inside.
Yeah, look, it couldn't have been any more impressive. That's all I can say about it.
Line of three up front there. Tavasan is in the middle in the yellow and Space Boy's in the Portelli colours out wide. And underneath them, just poking up there is Spending to Win. So Black Magnum is trying to tuck in behind them, and Emanate is in the white cap astern a bit. And back on the rails there is Cradle Mountain.
Yeah. Good news for the owners of Space Boy. It looks to have lost most of its pace. I don't know what they're going to do with it.
Well, it's been up a while.
Yeah, it has been up
since November. Probably needs a spell.
Probably does need a spell. Handle the Truth was a nice run, Paul.
Look, I didn't think so. Look, a couple of comments about the race. Tavasan pulled up with slow recovery, so we can forget that. And Flat Heaven had absolutely no luck at all, and ran the fourth best 6-2 on the day.
That's it. The Baker colours at the back.
Yeah, and I think there's a bit of merit there in that run, or a bit of hidden merit outside the winner. Handle the Truth. Look, I would have expected it to rate better because it has done previously first up on several occasions. I just think the winner was ultra impressive.
Yeah, but no trial Handle the Truth, and it's in a position that horses didn't do anything all day. I mean, it's virtually 3 wide with cover, but 3 wide at the back. The Munitions, yet another of the mystery horses that just didn't fire at all. It seems to be in a position where it should have been able to do something and can't go. Anyway,
it looks really stylish there.
What, Munitions?
Yeah, it's got a bit of style about it.
Okay. All right, so you're not writing it off just yet.
I think maybe 11's wrong distance. I think maybe it's a 1400 metre horse.
You saw the Baker horse just not getting any.
So I posted in the chat room a little while ago that there's a one variable automatic bet for everybody at the moment, and that's M. Newman Fresh. His horses are running through brick walls when they're fresh, particularly first up.
And so, are you saying that they overachieve first up? That they're
yes. They are flying first up. And that was like for Black Magnum to do that in that race, when I think you mentioned on Friday, Mark, that you thought it was a Wednesday quality horse.
Yeah.
I'm just suggesting that something's going on in the stable at the moment, and it's a one variable bet.
The potential hollowness about this race, of course, is that if they weren't resuming, they might have been coming off a 1,000-metre race at Randwick, which is no springboard. That's Space Boy and Cradle Mountain, or country stuff. Emanate was the only horse that had a sort of last start on a Saturday in an 1,100-metre race, and it was first up on that occasion. It trialled since, and here it was just to do the demolition. What do you want to do with the winner, Gord?
Yeah, I think he can win again next. I mean, this was obviously an ideal setup. And I'll take it on a race-by-race basis, but I agree with Paul. That was pretty stylish. You know, when you're a dominant, powerful through-the-line winner, I'm always looking to back your next start.
All right, the last race, which was a bit of a procession, yet again, moderate tempo, Paul.
Slow pace, really. They've gone out 4.1 slow to the 800, come home 5.6, obviously quickened a lot. In terms of the fastest leader split on the day between the 8 and the 4, which pretty much won Star Spangled Radio the race. Look, it couldn't have been ridden any better for mine.
But it's a horse that both Gord and yourself, you found it from its first up run. You said this has done something worthwhile, and then Gord was saying, look, he really liked its run 8 days before, and that you gave it a chance in the full field, Gord.
Yeah.
The so it's leading, obviously, and Maori Girl's poked up outside the lead. Wheelhouse has been ridden forward, and it seemed to just grind away throughout the race. Global Quest is running one out, one back. It's Cactus. And the plunge horse, Lakeen, is blue colours, third last in the picture there at the moment. And no opportunity at all, really. But was there a section of the race there, Gord, at all that the Lakeen impressed you?
No. And when I was keen on it. Luckily I had something on the win as well, because I had a pretty big bet on Lakeen, so at least I came out even on the race. But I don't know, like when it's truckloaded like that, you love the trial, you know what I mean? I get Mark James coming, I get this warm and fuzzy feeling. I know,
but there's no substance there. They're all mystery horses with no platform.
Gord, would you have taken $10 the leader there?
Bloody oath. I would have taken shorter than that. Was it $10 then?
Yeah, and you could get on to win $5,000 at $10 most boards.
So you've made a fortune.
No, I didn't want to rob him. No, because the line, the reason is it's one of those odd times in life when the electrics on a race course stop and there was no call on course.
Oh, fair dinkum.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I saw Betfair go in play, and I went and I looked up. I could see and all the bookies are standing around just scratching their balls till about the 300, and someone started yelling, "They're racing! They're racing! They're racing!"
Oh man, I would have loved to seen you charge down the ring to win 5, to win 5, to win 5, to win 5.
It's a very eerie feeling on a race course when there's no sound.
Yes, it's strange.
And then so I just took off and just went and jogged down there. And as I got like 40 yards to the window, they're just at the 150, and it was just people standing around drinking, and no one knows. It's a very odd thing. Very odd thing.
It shows how much attention they pay to the betting, isn't it? Seriously,
and the racing.
Yeah.
Plenty of $10 about now.
Paul, I cut you off earlier. There's obviously a flashing light horse in this race.
Well, a couple of things about the race. Lakeen had no chance given the way the race was run, but it did run the best 8-4 and 6-4 on the day, and the fourth best 8-2. So it obviously needs more tempo.
Well, that's one that I'm not seeing, Paul.
Fuck! If it ran the best, what did Fulmina run the best for a year?
No. Fulmina ran the best 8-2 on the day, and its closing sectionals were superb. It was the run of the race, Fulmina, definitely. And Wheelhouse, went from a very fast run 1400 at Kenzo to a very slow run 1400 where its wheels just spun.
Yes,
it needs to step up in trip. So Wheelhouse up in distance. Fulmina definitely has come back extremely well. Sorry, I shouldn't say come back extremely well. Has been racing extremely well and will be suited by a step up in distance. And
how did that run? I'll break in there. How did that run compare to its Too Big Fari run when it was actually first up, rather than just fresh like it was on Saturday?
Rated about the same on Saturday just gone as it did first up, but this horse has improvement. It has at least 2 to 3 lengths up its sleeve, and I think if they step it up in trip and it gets even a moderate tempo, then we can see it come to the top. Lakeen definitely don't sack it.
So, but if I could just unpack that, Paul, a bit. You mentioned the fastest 8-4 on the day, and the best 8-4 on the day, and the best 6-4 on the day. But in this race, the horses have run the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth best on the day for the 8-4. Not quite the same for the 6-4, but I mean, it does seem that the race has provided.
Yes, provided those horses. But what I'm saying is the horse had no chance. I mean, it was 13-4 and the 7-4 obviously wasn't by the race shapes not only the race shape, but the pattern. They've gone very slow here. It was the fastest 8-4 leader section of the day would have gone 5.8 lengths above between the 8 and the 4. So if you weren't within striking distance between the 8 and the 4, you had absolutely no chance. Hence the runs of Fulmina, full of merit, and Lakeen may not, hidden merit.
Are you suggesting, Paul, that's the absolute perfect ride by a jockey on a leader?
Yes, I'm saying that's what wanted to race.
And who was it?
Couldn't have run it any better.
Gordo's boyfriend.
Who was it?
J-Par.
It is his
My
happy
boyfriend.
place, isn't it? It is your boyfriend, but it's his just looking at that still there in that last 100, like, why didn't I run around back in play? I was on it anyway, so I just wanted to win.
Yeah.
I sent him out, Lakeem, from Star Spring, that traded tremendously, but I don't know.
Well, it was that 6-4 split was the winning move.
Yeah, I love it. Getting going that little bit earlier when you've
building revs and then keeping the momentum going is incredible.
Yeah. Well,
and
Nash
J-Par
does it as well.
But J-Par is his happiest place, isn't it?
Isn't it funny, Glenn? You go back nearly 11 years now, where we did that punters podium for the punters show. It was when Rangi Rangdu won the Doncaster. Yeah, and earlier in the day, J-Par had been on a blue colours, just restrained out the back like a 6-4 chance in a 2-year-old fillies race.
Oh, I remember that day.
Blowing up about.
Gave it no hope at all, and there was an inquiry and everything, wasn't there?
Yeah.
Yeah, he did it about 4 times on blue colours horses that were absolute monties.
Yeah, and here he is. He's just totally found his mojo.
Fuck, he's 11. That was 11 years ago. Fucking J-Par looks 11. Like, honestly, where did these years go? We don't live long enough, do we? No, we need to live to 200 to have a proper life. Oh. God, we've lost Gord. He's gone. Look.
Oh, yep. All right, Paul. Do you want to recap on some of the best and worst performances?
For me, race 2, I thought Commando Hunt was a decent performance in an ordinary highway. In race 3, the winner did a good job, but it's a good horse, fresh. And I thought Polly Gray's run was good. Happy to sack Yao Dash now. Then in Subpoena's race, Subpoena's gone very well. She's ideal. Maybe at its 3rd or 4th run back this prep, I'd be looking for it. It was a good run. And then we go to race 6. Mr. Marathon Man was the forgive. So it might turn up in the right race. Look, I thought the winner of the Hobartville was good, and Glenn mentioned it's a small horse, but to me, everything about the data suggests a mile for it. I think not saying sack Peltzer, but very disappointing.
There will be, I meant to say when we were talking about Peltzer that there will be they'll pull this whole argument when it goes to the Randwick Guineas in 2 weeks that all its wins are at Randwick. Does that mean anything?
Oh, look, I mean, we all know that some horses appreciate certain tracks more than others, but look, I thought it was very disappointing all the same. So I'd be a bit against it. And then I thought Emanate obviously was the winner of the day for mine, but very obvious, and Flat Heaven, bit of hidden merit there, and a forgive on Tavasan. And then the last race, definitely full millionaire, Wheelhouse up in distance, and Lakeem needs more pace and more distance.
Good, a great summary there, Paul, and I'm sure all our clients really enjoyed listening to that. All right,
I love the sectional breakdown is fantastic, isn't it? Because
because sometimes you can't, your eye doesn't show it. Yeah, anyway.
That's right.
All right, is that the end of part 1, Mark?
Well, your eyes still mean something, but they still mean something.
Yeah. You need your eye. Gord, what are your eyes telling you?
I love winners, Nimali and Airgon.
Airgon. Okay, excellent. That's the end of part 1. Thanks very much to Paul for a massive contribution.
From Ratings to Win, of course.
Yes, from Ratings to Win, and all that data you can get if you subscribe to Ratings to Win, which is the complete package. And the 3 of us.
And I'll see you soon, Paul.
We're having a little tutorial.
Yes, you're on.
Yeah, he's not supplying. Unfortunately, he's not supplying any refreshments.
It's going to be interesting given your condition, Gord, today. But
I know. Yeah, I know. I'll be fine. I'm going to have a half an hour kick, and I'll be right as rain.
Yeah, he'll be right as rain. Okay, we'll see you back here next Monday, Paul. Thanks so much for that.
Thanks very much.
Yeah,
Bye.